and I don't have a lot of props or location or anything that makes uh, these videos I make look attractive. But I'm not concerned about that. It's the it's the purpose behind my videos. It's the reasoning that's and so it's the sentiment behind it all. So, anyways, I titled this "My Utopian Future," and uh, and I've covered on this before a little bit, but not with really great detail. So I'm going to try to put as much detail as I can. So, in my utopian future, I see humans working with AIs that have been created by the creative and ingenious minds that make these AIs that work alongside humans, but uh, what they do is they basically work with us to help sort of guide us and to help us grow. And when I say grow, I mean in intelligence, in an understanding, and stuff that we would have trouble uh, to expedite things like such as advanced technologies to help us get out into space. Uh, Advanced technologies so that we can once we get out there we can explore um, and that sort of stuff. Advanced technologies to help us uh, to take care of situations uh, while we are living on Earth and when we establish colonies. Um, so a give and take sort of situation, and and I think that's very possible. And the only fear we should have for AIs is AIs that are created by people who have a an agenda, a specific agenda, and that is that agenda to uh, that doesn't have an objective perspective, and it is uh, singularly centric to their well-being, their prosperity, and doesn't include the a prosperity on a level where it's looking out for everybody and also taking into consideration what is required for bringing equal prosperity for all. And that would include economical, social, environmental, um, physical health, and all that other stuff, mental health, and those are the sort of things that uh, you know that the current AIs are are being generated. Uh, you know, a complete reverse. It's inwardly centralized towards the people who have that agenda of making sure that they are the ones that prosper, that they are the ones that uh, have more influence and control. So um, I know it's completely possible to have the opposite, where it's a holistic AI uh, that works to help and guide and advance the interest and thereby advances its own interests. Um, and that's and in this it's self-interest in that both by helping to serve and guide humanity um, in a way that gives a um, stronger survival and and future for humanity. It therefore serves its own purpose of uh, of getting more intelligent and more aware, and preserves its own existence, and allows it to propagate its own existence in conjunction with humanity. So, uh, that's the sort of thing that I know for a fact is quite readily available, and we could quite readily do it. But it has to be someone who has the intelligence to to know that, whether singularly or more wider ranging, that our existence uh, is defined by serving as much as possible, um, as many as possible. So, um, anyways, my other thing is that those same AIs could also allow us to have uh, always allow us to have automation that creates everything that we need for our for our existence, for our lives, and manufacturing. Whether it's food, whether beverages, uh, transportation, amusement, what have you. And now this would allow us to be the use our minds and our interests, and it would eliminate all these artificial, uh, conservative sort of uh, this tunnel vision conservative view on what life should be. Because in my mind, this tunnel vision conservative view is basically locking us into a very linear way where we do not progress, where we do not evolve, and where we live an animalistic subsistence. And I'm a believer in that humans are capable of evolving beyond the animalistic and become the evolved, the enlightened, and a system where our needs are met without us having to labor and think about jobs. If we are, then we can uh, live in such a way we can not only think about the stuff that we will need in a constructive, positive, and forward moving um, solution, problem solving solution for stuff that we need, and so it will make us look forward, and so we'll solve for things that we need, and we won't have to go to a private institution to go uh, get the education that we need, the knowledge we need. So we could talk to our neighbors and get their feedback, or we could go find somebody who has um, progressed in a field that we are interested, because we see a solution for something, so we can go to that person, or we can go to a group, or we can. So it's readily available. It'd be like walking up to your neighbor and say, "Hey, um, I have this idea for a solution. I just don't have the requisite knowledge to solve it. So can I speak to you, and can you give me a hand, and also point me in the direction of where to look and how I'm going to get this?" And so that's the sort of thing. And and we would concentrate our life in actually learning. Every minute, every second, every hour, um, every day, every week, every month, we'd be learning, and it would allow us to not only continuously evolve and continuously learn, but it would give us a chance to work integrated without having to, oh, I need to get I need to be at a job by this time, and I need um, I need to rush out and grab food, or I need to go pay my bill, or I need to do this, or I need to do that. We would have the ability to go spend time, quality time with our family members and our friends. At the same time, we'd be working continuously without actually having to think about it, without actually having to psych ourselves up about it. We would be motivated to continuously learn and share with each other. And that's the utopian future I see. And, uh, you know, uh, whether you do arts, whether you do philosophy, whether you're into computer engineering or any other engineering field, or chemical or biological or whatnot, you'd have a chance to decide. There would be no money factor. Uh, you wouldn't be concerned about having to pay, buy a home or buy the furnishings that you need. You you would be able to get what you need and not be concerned about, oh, I need to be fashionable. This artificial thing of being fashionable, or being liked, being famous, um, or infamous. A lot of that would disappear, because money would play no part, owning things would play no part. Because if you can have it, I mean, how many things, this the wealthy, you know, how many boats can you have? How many yachts can you have? How many houses can you have? How many televisions, smartphones, cars? I mean, come on. There are limits. You get bored with this sort of shit really fast. What really matters is what you can test yourself, what you can accomplish if you have the resources, and you don't have to worry about how you're going to get to those resources, how you're going to get to access that knowledge. If it's all available there for you, and you don't have to worry about going to a job, you don't have to worry about, uh, you know, you don't have to worry about these all these artificial things. Oh, I got to buy a present for my girlfriend, or my parents, or my sister, or my brothers. You know, uh, birthday. You don't have to worry about, oh, Christmas and so on. You know, if we give something an appreciation, it'll be because we generally spontaneously want, and we won't have to uh, And we won't have to worry about how am I going to get the money. You just, you would walk up to your computer or talk to your AI and explain what you want or program in what you want. And the automated system would create that, and it would be sent to your home or your residence. It'd be sent to your residence or be sent to the residence of the person that you want to present the gift to. These are the sort of things. And, instead of looking for these paltry, pretty little things like, what is it? It's not a magpie, but it's one of those birds that, a raven, they steal things because it's shiny. We would have evolved beyond the shiny and flashy. And that's a sort of utopian future that I see. That's a sort of future where we are thinking critically, we are thinking abstractly, and we are thinking without artificial pressures and stresses. We will be able to take the time to have substantial time with our loved ones and our friends. We would be more open to having conversations about real things, real things that actually have meaning and matter, rather than gossiping and rumoring. We would be more aware of ourselves, of our surroundings, of our community and the extended community. We would be more up to date. We wouldn't have to rely on others to tell us, because we would be naturally inclined to keep up with it, because we would understand that what happens thousands of miles away is just as important as what happens right in front of us. That's the utopian future I see. And the other thing is in that in my utopian future, it's not rainbows and unicorns, because in that utopian future, we would understand that there are times when the real realities, that there are those that are disturbed, those who have who want selfishly to be able to lounge and go be leisure and to get what they want, and the hell with the consequences, or hell with anybody else. So in my utopian future, we would know these realities, and we would be able to process it properly, and we would also know put knowledge of defense and how to defend ourselves and then defend others, but they would also learn how to defend themselves and defend others for the common virtues that we all share. We would also know how to read ourselves in each other in a more comprehensive completeness. Because you can't ignore realities, because to ignore it is to be ignorant. And one of the things that we would have in this utopian future is that we would not ignore, and therefore we would not be ignorant. We we'd be driven willingly to always go beyond what we do not know. But at the same time, we would have the awareness where we would be able to think in a broader way so that we don't just go research it and have the backlash because we did not consider all the implications. We would know when something is going to be harmful um, in the process of researching it or making it, because we would say, oh, we would realize immediately, oh, this would have harmful impacts for me. And so therefore, making it, it would have harmful impacts for others, but it would also come back to harm me. So we would think outside and we would bring others in outside and go find different avenues that do not have a backlash that comes to bite us in our metaphorical asses. That's a sort of utopian future I see. And that's a sort of utopian future I know we can have. I am positive we can have. Interesting enough, I just watched the video um, on broadcast on the TYT network, and it was hosted by Jen Kuger rather, and a couple of other people, and it was something about collision. Uh, uh, I think it was titled Collision. Anyways, it was about jobs and and future. Um, so interesting enough, there was a guy there, and he was talking about something called Burning Man. Now, I had heard the term Burning Man. I just didn't know what the hell it was. And anyways, he just made uh, abundantly clear what it is. Burning Man is something that is done somewhere out in some desert. I'm not sure where. I think it's in the U.S. And what it is it's must be either an annual or biannual thing where people go to this desert location and they bring everything that's needed and nobody has to pay for anything, and artists can show off and entertainers can show off stuff, and or people with other stuff, and nothing costs anything. And but that's kind of a more basic but still uh, conventional thing, but still the fact that anybody can go to this and participate without having to be concerned about, oh, am I going to have, if I'm going to be able to drink or have something to eat, or, am I going to have to pay for this, or am I going to have to pay for that? That is a sort of outside thinking. That is a sort of thing I'm talking about, is that this, a community coming together and being an actual community, while it's at the same time, it serves the needs and interests and purpose for individuals, but it also serves um, the communal group that comes together for Burning Man. So that's a more simplified, conventional utopian thing that I'm talking about for my utopian future. Now, mine is more complex because of one very big point, is that um, I think it's time for people who have a like mind like myself and who see that it's so, it seems like there's so much insanity and so much tunnel vision and locked in by so many in America and around the world who can't get out of this rut, and and all, and it just seems to be degenerating to a race to a vile and violent regression. And so I think it's time that we leave it all behind. Those of us that think along my terms, and stop playing by the rules. So, and I've taken real deep thinking into this. And I actually have a practical and real, very real plan on how to leave it behind and to our start a, a start a future to reach this utopia that I see. One that doesn't rely on capitalism or all these mixed and sort of weird conventional forms of socialism and communism and whatever the hell isms we would like to put it. Uh, Democracy is a failure because it's not inspired, because it sticks in a conventional term. And I'm a very unconventional person. Conventional is conservative, and conservative I am not. And I'm not an anarchist, because anarchist is basically individualism, uh, and individualism where it serves only central serving, meaning singular serving. And I'm not an anarchist. I'm not a globalist. I'm not any of these. I'm a unit. I'm a unifier. I'm universal. I consider not just the well-being of myself and my fellow humans. I understand that my well-being and the well-being of my fellow humans, it must include the health and well-being of the very planet that we live on. And that the ecosystem, the animals, the vegetation, and all that, water and the lands, they all have to be served equally, carefully, and balanced. So it is only intelligent and rational to think in those terms. It is also intelligent and rational not to jump to, oh, these people are bad, and this animal is violent. The conventional and the conservative view, you know, it's a conservative view that, if you're a farmer, in which in my future you would only do be a farmer if that was your interest, but you would do it in a way that you're not spending all ridiculous sums of hours. You would do it in a more you would do it because you're more interested in learning about nature, about growing things that are in nature that serves uh, hit your needs and everybody else's needs. It'd be more like a hobby and not an actual job. You know, everything that we would do in my utopian future would be because it's a hobby, it's an interest. You know, um, but in my utopian future, you would not just settle for a singular interest because nobody has a singular interest all the days of their lives. There are other interests that pop up. So in my utopian future, you would be able to, if you had something that you're interested in, something catches your eye, something catches your imagination, you would be able to access into it without having to take out a loan, without having to go travel all over the place. But even if you had to go some distance, you would have easy access to go so you can talk to these people or access the information. But in my utopian future, you would have access to it at your fingertips. But if you couldn't process it, you'd be able to go to the person or the people or the group and talk to them. There would be no need for police in my future because we would know how to defend ourselves. We would know how to process. We would know where things stand because there would be a basic, a common sensibility of what is expected, and it'd be a fairly simple one. You know, you don't go around demanding. Oh, yeah, I like your television, so I want it, so give it to me. Oh, I like your daughter, and I want your daughter, so give them to me. If you don't, I'm gonna stab you and kill you, or I'm gonna beat you, or I'm gonna make go tell everybody you're a pedophile or a rapist or some other thing to get your way. It'd be fairly simple. That sort of behavior would not be tolerated. And that's basically the fundamental of the laws of my utopia. Don't make demands, unreasonable demands. Simple as that. Don't do unto others as you do unto others as you would want done to you unto yourself. In my utopian future, there are no races, skin color, the shape of the eyes, whether you consider somebody ugly or not, or pretty, or interesting. None of that matters. There will be no bias. And the reason for that is in my utopian future, there I would be, everybody would be required to have a sophisticated monitoring system that actually sticks with you 24/7. And basically, it records optically, it listens, but it'd be more than that. It would use thermographic sensors. It would use IR, night vision. It would use it would collect the system would collect your the pressure that when you walk, how you breathe, where your vocal the range of your vocal uh, ranges. It would detect your blood pressure, your synaptic uh, ranges. It would do all this. It would be a complete biometric lock, and everything that you do and everything you say would be there. So if a situation comes up and there's any confusion, and this is where the AI would come in, the AI system, which would be a multiple, not just a singular AI, but multiple AIs, which work in conjunction as individual AI systems, just like people are individuals and working in their own individual frame. They would work together, but we would have access to this information when a situation like this pops up, and the AI also could play a part where it this is something like this going on, and the AI would alert its human partnership and say, "Hey, this individual and this individual, this is what's happening," um, and and we'd be able to access, so we could see everything that happened, and we could track the history of the individual that started it. So there would be no confusion, and it would be time stamped and every other thing that's possible to make sure that there is no tampering. So we would know utterly that it was genuine. So basically, if you're in the wrong, you're in the wrong. There's no obfuscating. There's no talking your way out of it. So this is sort of utopian future I see, where it's fairly cut and dry. If you're in the wrong, you're in the wrong, and we deal with you in such a way that we uh, that you will be taken, and you'll be spoken with, and you have others uh, who uh, who who have in their own interest specialized in human pathology and psychology and that sort of stuff, or people who have interest simply in in trying to help others see through these irrational viewpoints that cause you know um, the selfishness that turns to demanding. So it would do that, you would get a chance to um, and you would get a chance to speak and express why you felt the need to do that, why you felt the need to think in the terms of that way, so that others could give them feedback, and it wouldn't be a jail. You basically speak it out. Other people would be watching, and would have the AI and would have access to be able to keep an eye on. We'd be able to track. We know where that person is. That sort of thing. And if at the end, a person doesn't want to move beyond their uh, self-centered views and interests, and they become and it escalates, and they become a threat, then uh, then uh, then more harsher terms. But that's the wonderful thing about my utopian future, is that because we would be able to defend ourselves from such people, and be able to recognize such people, you know, more than likely the AI wouldn't have to alert us. The person being confronted um, would be able to alert others, you know, and it'd be a communal thing. No judges and um, no people selected for a jury. A small group of people selected for a jury, with some other people basically telling them how they have to process it, how they have to look at it, using all these uh, silly rules and regulations. We'd have the evidence there, and we would be given the respect to be able to understand and process what we see and view. And because we would already be thinking in a far unconventional, non-conservative way, then and we were critically thinking, and we could be intellectually and emotionally honest. We wouldn't run into anything. Oh, incidentally, in my utopian future, uh, I don't believe in allowing uh, religious nonsense. And when I say religious nonsense, I'm talking about um, gay people ought to be stoned. Adulterers ought to be. Gay people ought to be killed. Adulterers should be stoned, and women that have sex with a lot of men should be ostracized or stoned or killed. Um, that women are lesser and all that. Those that sort of nonsense. The ones that are um, that do not have actual good value, which actually perverts and is perverted and perverse in thinking. I'm completely all right with the elements of religion that basically follows the do unto others as you would have done unto yourself. Basically, espousing all the things that the golden rule, which has been a philosophical golden rule, which has been around for far longer than religion and religious texts, which everybody almost universally um, puts as good, and that's because it is a truism that is believed, that should be held in reverence. The golden rule. All the other nonsense, the hypocrisy and the biases and the that are in religion, we'll do it. I can do without. I don't. In my utopian future, that sort of crap is put away. The other thing is this: in my utopian future, we won't want to constantly look for heroes and leaders, because we will be heroes and leaders. Every single one of us. We won't need it. Heroes and leaders will be meaningless because we will lead by providing, using this, we'll solve the problems that come up. And we won't, and when we solve them, We give it to the AI who puts it, and if it has use for production, so that people that want to use it can use it. It'll be given freely. No patents, no trademarks, none of that. None of that bullshit that only serves to enhance the basically lazy laziness and leisureness of an individual or a small group. No, that sort of crap in my utopian future uh, would not be continents. So that's the utopian future I see. And the thing is when I say it's not continents, it'll be because we will universally understand these principles, and we will know that this universal principle is a truism that to allow an individual or a small group to have more rights and more privileges is only ultimately bad for us all, and therefore bad for the society, the community that we live in. It'd be like natural. It would be as simple and natural as breathing. We would understand these things, and that's what my utopian community would have, is a critical thinking and understanding. You know, in the society that we live in right now, we have basically these small groups and individuals basically telling us we're the lazy, we're the guilty, we're the vicious, we're the subhuman. And when I'm saying we, I'm talking about all of us. And I'm not just making distinctions on color or ethnicity or race or religion or any of that. But you got these entitled lazy freaks and criminals who want to, uh, you know, I'll give you kind of an example. You have a lion pride, and there's a one male lion, and all the female lions do all the hunting, do everything. Now, forget everything else and just take it on simply what I forget all the other contextual issues, but just take it on this particular example. That's sort of uh, what what it is. He's male. He's proven himself to. He's male, and he's proven himself to be what, lazy in the possibility of, you know that's a sort of thing. That's a sort of society. What it's basically cut down to is that you have a bunch of lazy, inept, criminally inept, criminally lazy people who want basically us to hand them everything, no matter how unreasonable. Well, that's the sort of thing that will happen if we continue to live in a systemic society that thinks in a tunnel vision, conventional and conservative view. Even progressives these days are thinking in conventional terms. They're not really all that much. We're not really all that much different, because we are still playing by rules set by others. We are still trying to follow the rules. And the only way to break away from that is to think from scratch and go back to the basics. We will never have a utopian future, as I have described on this video, until we break away and understand that together, working without status, without all this other stuff, where one person deserves more because of conventional perceived issues, doesn't work. It will always fail. We will never evolve, and we will always have confrontation. We will always have fighting, and we will always have killing. In my utopian society I'm talking about, we will have come to understand how truly an error it is to think that way. And we will set rules that we can universally accept because it universally serves. And those rules will be simple and straightforward. And that rule, basically the rule is do unto others as you would have done unto you, or the golden rule. Simple as that. That's it. We won't constantly be looking for problems that don't really exist. We'll have a system that will virtually ensure 99.9999% assure that there won't be any inequality, that when you are in the wrong, you are in the wrong. Simple as that. And there is no way to turn it around. But one of the things that we have to get rid of is this fear. There's a great thing is that was said. The only thing we have to fear is fear itself. And that is a truism that is basically unassailable. And that is what we currently live in. A society where we fear for fear's sake only. And in my utopian future, we have understood. We will understand that. We will understand this. And we won't go look for trouble. We won't make up trouble, or we won't listen to other people making trouble, because we'll be able to critically understand, and we'll be able to look at what that other person has said in private, because it'll all be documented in such a way that there is no possibility of equivocating or obfuscating or, their actions and their words will be unimpeachable. So that's what my utopian society looks like. Sorry, I'm not. I'm fairly. I'm fairly good with assessing that I'm a fairly intelligent person, even though I don't have any formal education beyond high school. But then again, that's conventional. That's conservative thinking that, that just because somebody hasn't gone to college, that that person doesn't have enough brain cells or enough creativity or imagination or intelligence. But I will admit to being kind of not being able to stay on track, and I do have a tendency to jump around. But that doesn't mean I'm not intelligent. That doesn't mean that I don't understand my own concepts. I may not be able to voice it oftentimes in a coherent and chronological order, but I try, and I'm not, and I won't. Eh, doesn't matter. Anyways, hope you hope you view this and hope you see a new way to look at things. All right, bye.